Let me give you quick statistics.
Hit me with it.
82% of filing for divorces today is initiated by a woman.
So this stat appears to be close enough. Studies I could find based in the US said that it was closer to 70%, and in the UK it's more like 60. Now he obviously wants us to infer that the person who files for divorce is at fault in some way, that they are bad for doing so, but we, unlike him, are curious people who actually want to know why it happens. Why the data here is so different from the data on non-marital breakups, which in both countries are very nearly 50-50. And the explanation offered here by sociologist Michael Rosenfeld: misogyny and sexism. Non-marital relationships are much more likely to be egalitarian and flexible. Marriage relationships, unequal and oppressive. It just kind of makes sense that the person who wants out is the person who doesn't feel like they're being treated well.
98% of men that are in prison were raised by a single mother.
This is not even in the neighborhood of reality. Now, this data is not particularly easy to find or count, but most studies put the rate of incarcerated people that come from a fatherless home at about 40%. Also worth noting that these same studies put the number of incarcerated people who come from motherless homes at around 15%. Why might that matter? Well, there are about 5 times more fatherless homes than there are motherless homes, which means that it's actually motherless children who are overrepresented among the population of incarcerated people, not fatherless children.
40% of women today that have a baby are having it as a single mother.
This one actually is an accurate number. And again, he wants us to infer that it is bad, that it is some sort of judgment against the moms. He's counting on us to draw on misogyny to fill in the blanks.
10 times more women than men end up killing their children.
Just like that, we are back to the land of make-believe where people wear hats on their feet and hamburgers eat us. We're gonna go to Canada for this data, although it is remarkably consistent with what you would find in the USA and the UK. Because not only are 90% of these crimes not committed by the mothers, the majority are committed by fathers. In fact, if we were looking at step-parents, it is 90% stepfathers. The only time the perpetrator is more likely to be the mother is if they are under 18 or the child is under a year old.
When a father raises a kid by himself, the kid will be 95% better than being raised by a single mother.
Now we're just making numbers up. Like 95% better than what? What is our referent? Single dads are much more likely to be cohabiting with a partner, at least in part because women are much more likely to date a single dad than men are a single mom. Single dads also report having a much larger social and familial support network, which means that their children are much more likely to have a maternal or other strong female figure in their life. Single dads also make 50% more money than single moms. So while that 95% number is ridiculous, there are reasons why motherless households on the whole have better outcomes than fatherless ones.
And he will be even better being raised by a father than by 2 parents together.
There's not one bit of truth to that statement. I'm not even going to waste my time addressing it.